Hi, this is Raji. Today's topic is about Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. Steve Jobs need no introduction as even the kids around us are very aware of this guy. Apple's co-founder Steve Jobs is no longer in this world, but he will rule in the hearts of crores of people for the time being due to his innovation. He was more than just the co-founder of Apple Computer and the brain behind the reinvention of companies like Pixar Animation Studios. His name is so incredibly inspiring and intimidating at the same time. The man who created Apple, the man who turned black turtlenecks into a uniform of power, the man who changed technology forever. He was a college dropout, of course. His legacy is one of a kind. The titan's impact on the world remains unparalleled. So every rise and fall was an opportunity for Steve Jobs. Just like most other heroes, the journey of Steve Jobs also had a fair share of hardships and downfalls. Steve Jobs stood up through every rise and fall, taking it as an opportunity to turn things around and move the industry that he created towards a better future. Right from the start, Steve Jobs was a very special guy who was a born genius. Almost immediately after his birth, his biological parents, unaware of the wonder they had made, gave him up for adoption. From a very young age, Steve Jobs was seen fascinated by the power and intricacy of computers. So, what kickstarted his love for machines was from his mechanic father's family, where he worked by taking apart cars and putting them back together in the garage. His father taught him to pay attention to detail, which Jobs sets as a mantra for Apple that has helped to set it apart from the competitors. At school, Steve Jobs was a genius who at the age of 12 called by HP founder Bill Hewlett in order to ask for some electronic parts for a school project. Hewlett was so impressed by Jobs' performance that he offered him a summer internship where he met Steve Wozniak. Soon, Steve Jobs started to work at Atari as a video game designer and then visited India in order to find enlightenment. Growing up, he never enjoyed school and ended up dropping out of college. After the first semester, but continued to attend the classes that interested him. One of the classes he was interested in was calligraphy, which led to his love for typography. So, Steve Jobs has always been a creative genius who pioneered the transformation of the computer industry and came forward to introduce revolutionary products like iMac. So, every rise and fall was an opportunity for Steve Jobs. He started a partnership with Steve Wozniak that proved to be outstanding. They started up with the Blue Box, which is a wireless system that could be used for free to make long distance calls. So this slowly led to the start of the first ever Apple machine. After relentless efforts and chasing behind investors to fund them, Apple was started with a big bang that made the news headlines. He was one of the youngest people who was included on the Forbes list of the richest people in the country, a great achievement that he made without any inherited family wealth. His vision of relentless innovation made Apple a huge success. He introduced several feats that include the iMac and the installation of the G3 power PC microprocessor. Apple launched devices like the iPod, iPhone, and iPad and changed the lives of millions across the world. After many ups and downs, Jobs set a classic example of attempting relentless efforts to reinvent oneself in order to succeed. Everything was back to normal and going perfectly well. But unexpectedly, what utterly shocked the world when he was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer of the pancreas. Jobs declined to see and obtain any medical care from a doctor. Instead, he turned to natural techniques such as dependence on herbal juices, vegetable juices, vegan diets that he felt to cure his disease. But his plans backfired fatally, worsening his health, of course. He narrated stories related to his life in Steve Jobs' famous speech, Stay Hunger, Stay Foolish. So, Steve Jobs' speech at Stanford University is as compelling as it gets. A dropout himself, his talk comprised of three stories from his life divided into his accidental adoption, his love for his job, and ouster from Apple, and ultimately being diagnosed with cancer. Contemplating his impending death, he further said, Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. So don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. Although the life of Steve Jobs was short, his legacy still continues. His life is an example for millions that how failure can bring new opportunities in life and how to restructure the failure into success story. He is one of my inspired superhero. So thank you. Thank you so much for watching.